Right, we are close. Things are finally moving. It's been a hard few days, and managed to break the gearbox motors off a few times. And it's been a constant problem of the motor not spinning fast enough, taking too much torque and slowing down. But we got a new motor on, and now it's spinning too fast, which is fine. I can downgrade it a little bit later. But we have the top piece, which is attached, and that is what the this thing is going to sit on top of. This giant spinning cube is going to get lifted up and welded onto here at some point in the next day or two. And we have all the electrics running for the motor, which is nice. And hopefully if I hit this, these are going to move along nicely. Still have to put some housing around the motor to quieten it down a little bit, but it's nice to see that things are spinning and moving. If not, maybe a little bit too fast at the moment. Maybe slow that down to about 5 RPM, and that'd be good. Don't want to take anyone's arm off. And hoping for more, about 8 to 10 seconds for one of the loops for the melody that I've got written. At the moment it's running about 5 seconds, so maybe about half as speed as that would be good. I'll just grab this on the next run through. I need to put a little kill switch on it somewhere too to make it a bit easier to grab. But yeah, everything's going quite well. We have lots of pieces together now, and I started the score, which is cool. And I've been working on the music that's going to play with this, with all the chimes hanging down it, for the last couple of months, and going through my usual process of starting with just exactly what I want to do, and moving into a few other bits and pieces. But the main boards are here, and this is what's going to be sitting on top, two halves on top of that spinning part, and then all the little hammers are going to be set in there. I was tossing up whether I was going to drill a few hundred holes around the whole thing and have the pegs, the hammers that are going to strike the chimes, removable, so you could actually reprogram any music score that you wanted on there. There's a lot of holes. I think I'm just going to get it spinning and get the melody I want first. But really playing around with the melody, trying to get something that's happy and motivational. I didn't want this song to be too negative. I didn't want it to be like Stuff Coal. I wanted it to be like Yay Reef, maybe like a Great Barrier Reef love song. So I've got a lot of major chords, but I did want to have some slight off-putting situation, that something's not right, that the reef is sick and that there's a problem. So the second half of the melody's got a little sort of 9th and 7th step down, which sounds a little bit dissonant, which is working quite nicely. And I'll chuck a link to the demos on this blog as well. But it's been a hell of a process. This thing is in more shape than the whale was, but we are still having problems and still learning lessons. Managed to catch a few things on fire this morning, including the sculpture and myself. I am flammable, which is interesting, but at least this top is flammable, but everything's fine. I like this shirt, but these things happen. We had a little fire down here this morning, which was interesting, but it takes a fair bit to burn down a metal sculpture. But yeah, everything's coming along nicely, and we're back on schedule after a nice busy week of welding and putting all this together. As I've been going through this, I've been thinking a lot about the display and the slogans that are going to go on the side. I've got a whole bunch of wood panels that I'm going to be routing out some words and slogans on, and then filling with resin, and they're going to be backlit so the light will come through them. And also just the visuals of the whole thing. We've got a whole bunch of Poseidon themed ocean stuff, but I really didn't want to be just like gluing plastic turtles all over it like a kindergarten project. So I've enlisted the help of a few artist friends that are going to come and help me do this a bit more subtly, maybe a bit more professionally with the final touches. But with all the arms that are going on the sculpture, I'm going to have one side covered in coal, charcoal, and the other side covered in bleached coral, and it's really going to hopefully more than spell out that message of life and death, the black coal on one side and the bleach white coral on the other side, and the colourful plant succulents on the top with the solar panels. And I think those three surfaces, as the whole thing spins, will be sort of catching a dark and light, and the color on top, and really bringing the message through. It is now July 14th or no, Friday the 13th. That is why today is not going so well. But if you're superstitious, we're going to plow through. I've been using my usual technique of things not going well and just keep doing it until it works. And I really don't like quitting for the day if I haven't got that thing fixed that hasn't been going well. It doesn't really frustrate me. It's more just sometimes it's not working, and sometimes it's down to my medical sugars not being right and my levels, and so it's a little bit of going and checking and making sure that I'm thinking straight, and sometimes things just don't go well. But there's been a lot of unique design things that I had to kind of think about a lot as we're going through initial plans that were working and then didn't work, but that's okay. I like the process of being able to adapt as I'm going, and not necessarily sticking to the main plan, but just coming up with a new idea. I still find the best method for me when things go wrong is to go and sit down for 10 minutes and just have a think about it, and just clear my mind and slowly think of a few different options, make a few drawings, and try again. But this piece on top that's going to be basically holding the main cubes was a little bit of a design conundrum, but what we've come up with at the moment is working quite well, and I'm quite proud of the fact that this thing is quite steady and holding well, and it's going to be spinning quite nicely on top. I would still really like the cubes that's sitting on top to be spinning in a different direction to the base, and that's what we're about to work out now with a few different gear motors and rotaries. We have a whole bunch of bearings and bearing housings and different gear motors. I've had a lot of problems with the chain gears and the sprockets on this thing. Initially that I bought motorcycle chain gears, not bike chain gears, and everything's a little bit different. Imperial versus metric, and nothing just slides nicely into anything. Everything just needs like 4 mil shaved off or 2.4 mil shaved off. And with wood that would be easy, but with metal it's a pain in the ass. But I'm enjoying it so far. Mildly only regretting that I didn't build this thing out of balsa wood. But it wouldn't hold together if I did. But it's a beautiful day today, and things are working nicely for once. And we have a few more hours of light left, and my general process has been working from early morning until the sun goes down, and then stopping. And every time I go past the sun going down, I burn myself, or rip something off, or I break something. So I'm going to stick to my original plan of as soon as the sun's gone, I'm stopping for the day. We're learning a lot with this whole process, and there's plenty of people on board willing to help. And as soon as you talk about the message of the sculpture, everyone's very keen. The Stop Adani people were very keen to get the sculpture on the deck of the Steve Irwin coming up in July 28th down the Gold Coast, down in the Broadwater, the Sea Shepherd anti-whaling boat. But I'm just not going to be ready by then. So I am trying to explain to them, have been explaining to them, that August 20 was my sort of deadline when this thing is going to be finished. And I'm just going to stick to that. I'm not going to stress myself out trying to get this thing ready for this boat. And yeah, I think it'll be good by August 20, and hopefully HOTA, or Home of the Arts on the Gold Coast, is going to help out with the exhibition. There's plenty of places we can have this as well. I've got a few other galleries that will more than happy to take it for a little bit of an exhibition, and I don't think it's going to be just once. This thing's a lot more movable. It actually comes apart into 10 pieces. You can see some of the other pieces over here, all the arms are stacked up. These things will be covered in coral and succulents over here. But yeah, 10 separate pieces, maybe 3 trailer trips with a car. But no crane and no truck and no police escort this time. I can actually take this thing and assemble it by myself, which is a big plus. And it's good to have a bit of my strength back. And yeah, despite the problems, I'm happy and things are working nicely, and we will continue on. I've been thinking about how to integrate the blogs and reflections and the action research cycles into the exegesis, and yeah, also just looking at a little bit more research into public art and what it can and can't do, and also talking to Stop Adani people and some other artists about the effectiveness, I guess, of public art to create some sort of discourse and conversation and some direct action as well. The most direct action I consider with this is trying to sell it and using the money for the cause, using it for legal fees and God knows Stop Adani people need some money for all sorts of different things. But at the very least, this is coming together nicely. I have lots of musicians that are very keen to jump on the song, especially after last year's Migaloo song. So no problem with the music. As I said, there'll be a few demos I'll chuck up on this, and I'm still going through my usual process of just fighting with melodies a little bit, as in coming up with something harmonious and then a counter melody that is way off center. But I like that. And I think at the end it's going to be a blend of calypso, pop, reggae, rock. But I guess it all comes down to the layers and the vocalists and the parts that we put on. We have, again, too many guitarists, bass players, keyboard players, horn players, violin players. But we'll see what we can do. I'm going to try and limit what I play on the song. I'll probably play the bass and the main keyboard melody and obviously the chimes that I've written for this and the vocals. I'm going to try and leave a little bit more space for my friends to come and put down their parts on top of it. But everything is going well. We are 5 weeks. That sounds a bit scary. 5 weeks away from having this thing finished, and we are about 3 days away from having all the construction done. And then this thing is going to move out on a lawn so I can actually get this cube on top, get the weatherproofing paint on, and then we are just down to the main decorations, which I consider to be the easy part, definitely the less strenuous part. At least the part that can be sanded, shaved off, glued over, painted. Metal is, again, unforgiving. But yeah, everything's going quite well. I'm quite proud of the fact that everything on here is sort of handmade and put together. And I think my understanding of steel work and the strength tensions involved in it has definitely increased on this project. And having a little bit of mood boards and inspirations on the wall and throughout the house has given me a lot to think about how to properly explain what's going on. I think every time a new friend comes around, I try and explain to them what the hell I'm doing. It gets clearer and clearer as to how it's working and what the message is and what we're trying to bring across. But it's certainly going to be a large, wondrous musical machine, and yeah, I can't wait to get the whole pieces together in the next few days and get this thing actually spinning out on the lawn and collecting sun. But that will do me for today, and we'll catch you guys soon.